What's going on, everybody? It's Dillon James right here on JDF Sports. Out of bounds, Dillon James. It is so good to be back on a Monday evening. This is a special edition of Out of Bounds as we prepare for the NFL Draft starting this Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Titans will be on the clock. They're on the clock currently, I guess you could say. But they'll be on the clock at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on, I'm assuming, NFL Network, on all the major platforms for sports. I will be there at Nissan Stadium, which will be great. Tyler will be there in the building in Green Bay. So we will have several vantage points potentially during the draft special, which I'm sure Fitz and the boys will be announcing in the next few days. But Kern's in the chat already. Dillon, free this man, James. Also, Mr. Duke Silver, Mr. Fitz himself, saying, "Aye, Poppy." Welcome to the show. Tyler, Alex, it's been a few months at this point since our last show. So tell us what you've been up to. Yeah, it's been at least a month, a few weeks at least. Tyler, what you been up to recently?
Work, and more work. I've been working nonstop, just, trying to climb the ladder. I've actually got notification now that I'm doing the Raiders again this year, so doing semi-pro football again, which is going to be fun.
Nice.
Actually going to be doing some, news-ish recaps for their games, do a 1.5 to 2 minute recap of the games every single Monday. I think we're going to be putting it up, so I'm excited for that, just getting some more growth in that aspect. But yeah, just working nonstop, and excited for this weekend to take a break and then go up to Green Bay and go to the draft.
Yeah. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun up there, for sure.
It's going to be insane, and it's going to be crazy, and I don't think Green Bay will recover from this, but who knows?
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Alex, what you been up to?
Just cruising through school, going through an odd semester where I just haven't had much to do. Recently got even less to do when I broke my hand in an intense battle against a boxing bag machine at a bar. So that was fun. Otherwise, man, football off seasons when I really dive in to the WWE. We had WrestleMania weekend this weekend, and we just don't have enough time in the night for me to get started on that.
I mean, we're going to actually, though. Fonz, if you're in the chat, I'd love to hear your thoughts on WrestleMania 41 as well. First night, main event, great.
God tier.
Great. Yep. I loved it.
Unreal.
Loved it.
How good it was.
Absolutely.
Let me say this, and I want to say this.
Sure.
The night one main event was so good that it made you forget how mediocre to bad everything was leading up to it.
Yeah, you could probably say the same thing about night two, but reverse it. Everything was great. Every match was solid leading up to the main event. I mean, not every match, but most matches were solid.
They were all great. I genuinely, as someone who is not I just watch the PLEs, I watch WrestleMania. As someone who watches Raw, SmackDown, NXT PLEs, I'm all in on it, right? I watch all of it without as soon as we're done here, my phone is away right now, staying away from social media because I'm missing the Raw after WrestleMania right now. As soon as this is done.
Oh, you haven't seen you haven't seen anything from WrestleMania from Raw tonight, have you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I won't say anything. I won't say anything.
I will.
Fonz, if you're in the chat, don't say anything. But the main event last night there was so much left to be desired.
And I've been talking about it all day and all of last night. And it's for anybody who doesn't know, John Cena beat Cody Rhodes in the main event to establish himself as the all-time leader of world championships.
Which we all knew this was going to happen.
We all knew it was going to happen. We were okay with it.
Yeah,
because we wanted him to get this.
Because John Cena is going to be involved in WWE until the end of this year. He's continually said that. The storyline, Cody acting all big and bad. John Cena being pretty quiet during all of his promos leading up to WrestleMania 41. It just led to this point to where we all knew it was the worst kept secret in WrestleMania history, probably, that John Cena was going to win that match last night.
Yeah, and John Cena has been saying it for weeks that he will give us nothing. You get nothing from him, and he is going to ruin professional wrestling. And what did he do last night? His WrestleMania entrance, Cody Rhodes comes out with dirt bikes doing flips over the stage.
He had like an Iron Man, mask on. There was like a skull with like wings on the side of it.
It's his
it's his neck tattoo.
Nightmare tattoo established into
Crazy.
A mask. Like they had a Triple H style one last year. This one, it's an Iron Man style mask. Like just so freaking cool. And then John Cena walks out before him with a black background, white text, walks to the stage, gets in the ring and waits. And it's like we know you said it, but like we couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And now it continues. And when he said he was going to give us nothing and ruin professional wrestling, never in a million years did I think that meant we wouldn't see The Rock last night. We'd get Travis freaking Scott, love his shoes, but he walking to the stage for 3 minutes.
And his trading cards too. Cactus Jack collection for WWE cards coming out in tops. So
dude, it's just like
wasn't the best.
Oh,
especially after last year.
Travis Scott walked out was great.
It was still an okay match.
It was a John Cena match. Like, what are we talking about?
Even less than that though. Like it was mediocre at best. It was a very slow first 5 minutes at least. It picked up a little bit to where there was a bit more action after that. Then going up to the Travis Scott moment, it took him so long to get to the ring. First of all, he just took in that entrance of his, milked it, walking down the walkway, getting to the ring, having the little jawing match with Cody Rhodes, getting in the ring. I don't know. Travis Scott should not
pulling the ref out of the ring like that. That's a disqualification, brother.
Should have been.
That's a disqualification.
Should have been.
What are we talking about?
Yep.
Like,
I don't know.
The whole thing, man. The whole thing just I had a friend over who I've been trying to get people to understand professional wrestling is not like what it used to be. It's more fun. It's cool. And I had to apologize to someone. They were so excited for night 2 because of how night 1 ended. And then night 2 was so good. And I was like, dude, just get ready, man. Shit's about to go crazy.
Yep.
And then Travis Scott walks out and I'm like, buddy, get ready. Cause here it comes. And then he just keeps walking and walking. And I'm like,
that's it.
You're telling me The Rock's not here?
Yeah. He was in Hawaii, actually.
Mm-hmm. And I saw that on Saturday. I was like, oh, he's messing with us, right? He's got to be messing with us. He's going to be there on Sunday.
Oh, for sure.
He's going to be there on Sunday.
You would think. Mm-hmm. Also, it was very evident, too, that John Cena last night, even more so than in the past. I've heard it's actually happened before in the past, but even more so during this match, he was calling his places the entire match.
Yeah.
Blatantly obvious.
Hit me again. Hit me again. I remember that one
again. Like, I don't know. I've heard there are theories that The Rock canceled last minute and Triple H just had to kind of figure out a new something to do last night. And so that's why it turned into what it was. But first of all, having Steve Austin there doing the announcement of the attendance right before the main event when people thought that, oh, he might be involved in the main event like he was supposed to be last year in place of Undertaker.
Right.
That was supposed to be his spot. Didn't turn out that way. It turned into Undertaker instead, which was still great. Still a great match. Undertaker came out last year. Rock came out last year. John Cena came out last year. Like, last year's main event in WrestleMania was incredible.
Last year's WrestleMania 40 is one of the best WrestleManias of all time. of all time.
Yep.
Like if you look at the full scope of the show, night 1, night 2,
Tyler, stay awake.
it's possibly the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And so I never thought that this year could ever possibly live up to what last year was. And then the build up to WrestleMania was also very weak. So then when like just for like and there was just so many things. Like everyone said that this WrestleMania was cursed. And then sure enough, like Rey Mysterio gets hurt the night before. They have to put somebody else
Becky
in,
Lynch
which is
gets
change the
hurt
story.
the night
No,
before as
Bailey
well.
get
Bailey.
Bailey.
I'm sorry,
Bailey got hurt.
Bailey.
Now I think that was we're gonna put these two together in case we can't work out a deal with Becky Lynch.
Yep.
And then I think they got something worked out with her like the night before, 2 nights before, something like that. And I'm sure that they told Bailey like, "Hey, this is our plan."
Yeah.
But just in case, I will say, I had some problems with that one too, only because I didn't think there was a good way for that match to end, because you could, like, I said, I literally could go on about the
Yes.
whole show.
We'll talk about it later.
I
I just wanted to bring up a little bit of it because, I mean, I tuned in last night. I tuned in both nights.
Fuck The Rock.
True. I tuned in both nights. But last night I really tuned in to the main event. Wanted to see John Cena and Cody Rhodes and see what was going to happen, especially having last year as it was still fresh in my mind of the main event last year, saying that, oh, all these superstars are going to come out. There's going to be cameos everywhere. It's going to be great. And then it just turned into what it was, and it just wasn't as good as we thought it was going to be. But
it was Ad Mania 41. It was Advertisement Mania 41.
Yep, it really was. Really
That's all it was.
Anyway, let's get into football talk. We are
Really
streaming
fast.
tonight on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So if you are on Facebook, share the show wherever you go. We'd love to get more eyes on the show and some more friends in here to talk about your favorite team and who you think you're going to draft in the first round of the NFL draft on Thursday. And on YouTube, if you're already there, go over to our YouTube page because we're going to be doing a lot of our videos there. We're probably going exclusively on YouTube at some point. So go over there, subscribe to our channel, and follow us there because it's the best quality anyway. So we thoroughly appreciate that. And also subscribe to our podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. All podcast platforms have Out of Bounds Dillon James. Tyler.
Yeah, wasn't Stone Cold Steve Austin, didn't he hit somebody with an ATV?
No, he hit a
He hit the
barrier,
wall.
and the barrier came close to a woman. Oh, the woman delayed, fell back into her chair, looking like, I'm the victim here. So acted like she was hurt, I think.
Okay.
So they'll probably
That's
be
the-
getting her some money, but
I was about to say, I would just be like, full expense paid trip to WrestleMania next year, and you got it.
That was like the only thing I heard from this year, because I know last year, like, obviously, like, the big thing was The Undertaker and The Rock and all that stuff. I don't watch wrestling, so
Or you gotta get into it.
well, you should.
I-
I've tried
should.
a few times. It's not my cup of tea. I've tried doing it a few times, but yeah, that's all I remember. That's all I've heard from this year was just like, oh yeah, the Stone Cold Steve Austin ran into a barrier on an ATV.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get into some football talk. The draft is happening on Thursday. We've talked. This topic has been beaten like a dead horse for a few months now, since we've been away from football, since the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. So, top 5 picks. People keep saying Cam Ward's the guy for the Titans. Titans don't look like they're trading out of number 1. Are the top 5 picks locked in?
No way.
Do you see trades happening with the top 5 pick within the top 5 picks on draft night, the day before? Do you see any movement happening in the top 5 picks this year?
One.
I see. One. I think the big issue. So I think right now 1 and 2 is pretty locked in. I think number 1 with you guys getting Cam Ward, and 2 the Browns getting Travis Hunter, the wide receiver corner from Colorado. I think those are the 2 picks that I think are pretty locked in.
The corner.
It all comes down to corner, whatever the hell. I think he should be corner, and then primarily corner, then play wide receiver. But that's another conversation for another day when the Browns inevitably mess him up somehow. But I think it all comes down to number 3 with the New York Giants, because I think Dable and Joe Shane are going to be basically drafting for their jobs this year. And I think that it could come down to if they decide to get Abdul Carter, Shador Sanders, or Mason Graham. I think those are like the big three. I think Mason Graham's in there because they need a run stopper instead of a pass rushing defensive end, which is what Abdul Carter is. So it all comes down to what they end up doing. I think if they do go Abdul Carter, I don't think we see a trade. I know there's a rumor yesterday or a few days ago, last week, that came out that said the Eagles really, 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 really want Abdul Carter if he falls to 4, and they're willing to trade like AJ Brown, the 32nd pick, a first next year, and a second and a third this year, something like that, something crazy. Bless you. And to the Patriots to try to get him. I don't think he falls to them. I think he does go 3. I think the Giants would basically take the best player available at that time, and I think it is at that point Abdul Carter on the defensive side. I don't think they need a running back. 4 Patriots, I think it all depends on what they want. I think they could go offensive defensive line. I think they probably will go offensive line and just get Will Howard. Or not Will Howard, Will Campbell, the tackle out of LSU. I think that will be their favorite guy. And then 5 with the Jags, I think they can either go running back. I know they've been rumored to sort of try to take Genty. I don't know if that's just trying to put the Bears to try to trade up.
They have ETN though, right?
They have ETN, and they also have Tank Bigsby. But
Tank
that's
Bigsby
why I'm
too.
like, I mean, here's the thing though. They got a new GM, new head coach. That could be the reasoning why. But I don't think he goes there. I think they do go defensive line with Mason Graham if he's still available, defensive lineman out of LSU. And I think those are your top 5. Or yeah, that'd be make it 5. But so it's all about what the Giants do at 3. And if they go Shador, I could see that immediately just getting flipped on its head, seeing a massive trade, and then something massive happening there.
Alex, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean the thing that kind of I figured everything was pretty well locked in, and then all of a sudden, right, the rumors about the Eagles potentially trading all the way up from 32 to 4, which seems insane to me, but at the same time, like with the way that their GM has run things, who am I to doubt them at this point? They're clearly very good at managing their cap and managing their trades and their picks and everything like that. So, and their free agents. So, like, it seems like they do a good job. So, I would, if they did it, I would just trust it. Meanwhile, you have the kind of the other like kind of weird one for me is like because we still haven't heard anything definitive on Derek Carr down in New Orleans and his status for this year. And it seems like because I think they're drafting at like 11.
They're drafting at 9. They're drafting at 9, and I don't want to cut you off, but I have a very spicy take that we'll get into in a little bit about that because I don't think they're going to draft Shador, but I could see them making a trade to get back into the first round to draft somebody else who's going to be at the draft.
I think I know who you're talking about. We'll go into it in a second.
Yeah,
Alex, continue.
Yeah. I mean, I might be about to say what you're thinking. I could see them potentially trading up to try and go get someone like Shador. But I don't see Shador in New Orleans. Like just nothing about that screams what I would see them doing. I more realistically see like I think we're probably on the same page, trading back up and maybe trying to grab like Jalen Milroe. Yeah, that I mean, I've even thought like Jaxson Dart if he fell back far enough, I could see them trading back in. But the other thing though is like if Derek Carr's out, Derek Carr's already a huge hit on their cap. What are you gonna do at quarterback? Maybe then I mean, if Jaxson Dart or Shador's available, I think you gotta take them.
I mean, you still got Spencer Rattler,
but again,
too. So
sure, they sure do.
He's still there,
which is why I'm sure that they're looking at Jaxson Dart and Shador Sanders and Jalen Milroe.
True.
I mean, dude, Jalen Milroe, when did he run at his pro day? Like a 4.5 or something like that?
Like a 4.4 something. And I mean, too, like also like we're sort of going into this already, but Jalen Milroe is like a faster Jalen Hurts. And guess who's the head coach of the New Orleans Saints? Kellen Moore, who was the offensive coordinator in Philadelphia last year. Might as well just get like a little bit worse throwing, faster Jalen Hurts and just say, hey, screw it. Let's get an offensive lineman in the first round and then just trade back up and try to get a 5th-year option.
Yeah, especially since like that left tackle that they've just retired. I know he hasn't played the last couple of years, but they
Ramczyk?
just they had somebody who he hasn't played like the last season and a half,
I
almost
think
two
it was Rimcheck.
seasons. Yeah, and he retired. It was a left tackle. Um, so like they've
Oh, I
had
didn't hear this. Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
happened like
Offensive,
yesterday.
yeah,
yeah,
2 days
a day or
ago.
two ago.
Ryan
Yeah,
Ramczyk.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they knew this was coming, and they haven't had him the last couple of years. But I'm sure left tackle's high on their priority list. Um, but Jalen, yeah, I'm with you. Jalen Milroe is one of those guys like shocking, like scary low floor, but also very and like interestingly high ceiling. So yeah, it would just, I mean, it'd be really interesting to see what they decide to do. I think there's a couple of teams you could possibly see trading back into the first round though this year, only because like everyone keeps saying 10 to 40 is like there's like that much of a difference.
Yeah.
Um, I yeah, and then I mean, as far as the other top 5 picks, I mean, oh, I don't love. I mean, I don't love where we're at.
We can talk about that in a second.
I,
That's fine.
yeah,
We'll get into
it
it.
later, but I do think everything's. I think it's fairly locked in though, minus a couple of kind of crazy variables.
Yeah.
Tyler, were you going to say something?
No, I just agree that I think it is like a little bit locked in, but again, it's just up to what the Giants do. I think the Giants can throw a wrench in it. I think the Raiders can throw a wrench in it, and I think honestly the Panthers can throw a wrench in it. If those three teams decide to take something completely different than what people think they're going to be, I think that can throw a wrench in everything. I think we're going to see a big run of like offensive linemen, obviously, because that's the sort of ripple effect from the Super Bowl. But I think top five again, just sort of all comes down to what the Giants do. And if the Giants decide to go Shador, then it's going to be craziness, I feel like.
Yeah.
Which would be so odd because they've got Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson there already. Like, why would they? If they, I mean,
Yeah, I don't get it. If they do that, I don't get it.
Why would we trust this management, this GM?
Yeah,
like why would we trust them? Like we shouldn't.
Yeah, that's why I think they're going to go Abdul and just try to get best player available, try to get their win percentage up, and then hopefully keep their job, which I'm surprised they still have their job, unfortunately. And then just try to go next year and get a quarterback that's coming in. Because I know next year's draft class is supposed to be a lot better with not just Arch Manning, but also Garrett Nussmeier is going to come out, I believe.
I don't think Arch Manning's coming out.
Maybe. I don't think
I think
so
he's gonna be in the. I think he's gonna be in the college one more year.
2027.
Yep,
Yeah,
27.
But I know Nussmeier is apparently supposed to come out because he was going to come out this year and they decided not to. The quarterback out of South Carolina is supposed to be very good this year. He's like a better. Anthony
Sellers.
Richardson.
Lenore Sellers.
Yeah, Sellers. Yeah. Lenore Sellers. He's supposed to be a better Anthony Richardson if he could like actually hit his shots and not have as big as an arm. And then I think obviously Carson Beck as well.
Allard's going to come out too.
Allard. So I think there's going to be a lot more quarterbacks next year than this year. And it's like, obviously, if you're in that position to take a quarterback, take a quarterback. But at the same time, if you're able to, if you know you're on the ropes of getting maybe fired, might as well try to get the best player available and try to get your win total and then get another year under your belt and at least get hired for another year.
Yeah.
I know I've been hearing it a couple of times here lately. Do we really think Arch Manning's going to come out after 1 year of starting at Texas?
No.
I think he's going to stay for 2 years.
He'll stay for 2 years.
I think he'll stay for 2 years, but I think it's also the fact of what happens at Texas. If they go undefeated and they win the national championship, and he plays like Andrew Luck, and it's like he's get that much hype, I think he could come out next year. But I mean, it all depends on what he makes. I think he could stay for 4 years. I know obviously it's the Manning family, so it all depends on like who's picking at one at that point. I feel like if they do think he's going to go one, but again, it's like the same thing as Dion. Like they're going to try to pick and choose where he's going to go. I feel like.
Yeah, I don't see Arch leaving after 1 year. Even if they have that huge run, which I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to come into Texas and be the savior there and lead them to a national championship in year one of starting. I think there's still going to be some growing pains with his play, and that's the reason why the Manning family wants him to stay in college for 2 years, have more experience, because it's a proven track record that going into the NFL, if you have more games on your belt, you're probably going to be more successful in the pro game anyway. So they're going to have some more chances to get him the ball in his hands in college and see if he can win some more games and have more experience that way. Speaking about the draft, top 5 picks, I think the Jaguars actually are one of the teams that could potentially trade down as well. With a new GM there, I think that having some more picks that way, number 5 could be a coveted spot. And so I think that's probably a potential that no one's really been talking about. The Giants is interesting. That's going to be a very interesting pick to look at. I think that having Jameis Winston, having Russell Wilson there in New York, it's very hard for me to believe that they would draft a quarterback at 3. But crazier things have happened. I mean, they let go of Saquon Barkley last year and look what happened. So I think that at the end of the day, I think it's going to pretty much stay pat where it's at, except for the Jags might throw a wrench into things and trade down. The Panthers have already come out saying that they're willing to trade down as well at 8, I believe.
Yeah.
Number 8?
I think so.
So they've already come out saying,
I have it up right now.
There was a report coming out today saying they're looking at trading that down from that pick if need be. They're open for business. So, I mean, there's going to be some movement, but unfortunately it's not going to be a huge number 1 overall draft pick trade like we had seen with the Panthers and Bears. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen this year, which I wish it would. I'm still bandwagon. I think we need to trade down, get more picks for the Titans, and then get best player available once you do that. But everyone wants Saquon. Everyone wants Cam. I was thinking Saquon for a second. Everyone wants Cam. Cam is the guy, apparently. Cam is the guy that's going to come in. And you know what? Those people that keep saying Cam Ward's going to be the guy, he needs to come to Tennessee, we need to pick him number 1 overall. If he struggles at all in the first, how many games did Will Levis start? 20, 21? If he struggles in the first 20 to 21 games, and I hear people bitch and moan about this kid struggling, saying that he needs to be traded somewhere, I'm going to say, no. You don't do that. No, because you wanted this guy. You wanted Cam Ward. I'm of the mindset. There were a lot of people coming into the Titans organization when Will Levis got drafted saying, I don't like him from the onset. I was at first too. When he got drafted, the day he got drafted, I freaked out. I was in the car driving to Atlanta, driving through Chattanooga, heard the news that he got drafted, and I screamed very loudly in my fiance's ear, in Ann Bailey's ear, in the passenger seat. But then I went back. I am a Titans fan. So I went back and I accepted it. I watched some tape of his. I watched some interviews of his. I watched Peyton Manning and Eli Manning gushing over this kid on their special they had, the draft special they had with those quarterbacks. I said, look, I'll buy in. I'll be right behind him. If we draft Cam Ward on Thursday night, which is probably going to happen. I even had a TikTok about it on JDF Sports talking about this. If they pick Cam Ward number 1 overall, I will still be behind him. I will be behind Cam Ward 100%. He will be my quarterback moving forward. And I will vouch for him until he is no longer my quarterback. Like I just did with Will Levis. I'm still vouched for Will Levis to this day. He's still my quarterback. He is still the Titans quarterback.
Are you wearing your Will Levis jersey?
I'm not. I'm wearing Steve McNair. He's the legend, the GOAT. He's always my quarterback. But Will Levis is currently my quarterback. He might be, in Vegas or Hawaii right now or something. I watch his Instagram every once in a while on these beaches and stuff. But still, he's my quarterback until further notice. Until Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time when we pick Cam Ward. But again, those people who keep saying Cam Ward's the guy, he's going to do wonders for Tennessee. He's the second coming of Steve McNair. He's going to be a generational franchise quarterback. Keep that same energy. Keep it. Nashville Media, RKW on 104.5, 104.5 The Zone. I'm calling them out. RKW, keep that same energy. He's your guy. except for Ramon. Ramon was saying trade back as well. Ramon was on the same bus as Alex and I. We were team trade back. However, everyone else in Nashville apparently has just had an epiphany and said, Cam Ward is the next Patrick Mahomes. Cam Ward is Steve McNair incarnate. Keep that same energy.
So we're going to make this a TikTok and then send it to them. Is that correct?
Hey, I don't mind. Sure. 104.5 The Zone. RKW. And Don Davenport, unfortunately. Ron Slay. Mayor. Everybody. Just, he's the guy. We need to draft Cam Ward. Listen, and I've eaten crow before. I've said things before on this show that I've come back and said, that wasn't right. That was inaccurate. It was not a good take. I hope I don't have the same. You know what? I hope I do eat crow on this topic. Alex, are you on the same mindset that you would gladly eat crow if Cam Ward does come in and become a generational talent for the Titans?
Are we ready for this rant?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Please.
All right. I hope Cam Ward is the next greatest quarterback. I hope we're talking about him in 20 years as a potential GOAT, of course, because my team's taking him. But here's my problem. I'm not fired up about it. I'm not angry. I have resigned to the fact that he will be my quarterback. And that's not how you want to feel about someone you're taking number 1 overall. Who do I think we should take? I don't even think we should trade back. I think we should take Abdul Carter. I think we should have the best defensive line maybe that will ever exist potentially in the history of football, with Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat and Abdul Carter. That being said, this organization has given me nothing. I do not trust them at this point. They've given me no reason to in the last several years. To this day, I do not believe that Mike Vrabel should have been fired. I do not think that we should have fired Ran Carthon last year, or this past season.
Scapegoat,
for sure. But so let's look at the organization, right? Brian Callahan, supposed to be this great, this great quarterbacks coach, this great offensive mind. And I don't want to put anything on him because I don't think he hasn't had enough time, right? I don't really put too much on him, but he hasn't put enough out there yet for me to really formulate my opinion. I think there's passion there, which gives me hope. But I haven't seen the things that he was touted as being this great guru of. I haven't seen those things yet. Next, you move up the line, right? We have our new GM, Mike Borgonzi. I have no reason to trust or distrust him. However, right now, the first thing he says is that if there's a generational talent in this draft, we're taking them. There's one at least generational talent in this draft, maybe even 2. And I would say that there are 2. With Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. And from what all signs point to, we're not taking either of them. And then in the quarterback realm of things, I don't feel like this team is doing their due diligence. And I feel that way because we had an opportunity for a private workout with Shedeur Sanders. I know we had the combine. I know they had the pro days. But they had an opportunity at a private workout and they canceled it. That's not doing your due diligence. It's just not. You need to. I mean, I don't even love the fact that we haven't brought in Jaxson Dart and Jalen Milroe and all these other guys. I understand that they are not on the same level as these other 2 young men. But we're not even doing our due diligence. And I know that they've done all this work beforehand, but not taking the opportunity for the private workout. when they have the top 30 visit, but do the private workout. Take every opportunity you have to see these young men and make sure that you're getting your actual eye on the actual people. Because at the end, because personal opinion, I like what I see from Shedeur Sanders more. I do, and I like the pressure he's been under with two different programs, with Jackson State as an HBCU and Colorado, and the things that he's been able to do. I think he's tough. I think he's great, but I also think Cam Ward is also a very good quarterback. I just, for some reason in my gut, right, I have more trust in the son of one of the greatest football players of all time. And I guess I'm crazy for that. And then you keep going up. Chad Brinker. I don't trust that guy. And I don't think anybody should with the way he fell into this job that he has. He was the assistant GM. And then all of a sudden he's his boss's boss. What's going on there? And he's in charge of the draft, but no, actually Mike Borgonzi's in charge of the draft. Like, what? What's going on in this organization? And then you go to the top. The tippity tip top. Amy Adams Strunk. Miss Amy. She's reactive. She overreacts to small things. She doesn't seem to hold opinions. She like changes who her top person is year after year after year. So when you ask me about the number one pick overall, sure, take Cam Ward. And I will support him. And at the games I go to, I will hoot and holler for every great play he makes. And I will brush off any bad play he makes because I will be in absolute denial. And you can't tell me otherwise that he's not the future of our organization. With the number one overall pick, the most important pick in the draft, why should I trust the Tennessee Titans? What reason do I have to trust this organization to do any good with that pick? That's where I've been for a couple weeks now.
And it's the most important pick of the Titans organization in Nashville history, in their history in Nashville.
Yeah.
Tyler?
It's tough. It's tough.
What do you think
about
the number one overall draft pick? Do you think that Cam Ward is do you think he magically became a generational quarterback within what? When was the last time we saw him play? 4 months ago?
4 months? No. I think I'm still in the bandwagon that you guys should be drafting Abdul Carter, but it's the fact of it. There's a few factors I think that to put into account here is that number one, this isn't Callahan's guy. This is a quarterback that he sort of inherited because he took over the realm. I think it's sort of the same. Will Levis. So with him now basically sort of getting his guy in Cam Ward, he can sort of mold him into a character that he wants to do. Another thing with Will Levis, too, is that he's had, 8 different offensive coordinators in 8 years? Like, his original offensive coordinator that got him drafted was Liam Cohen, who's now the head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's rough for him to have that sort of steady development and having different coordinators year in and year out. Do I think it's the wrong choice to get Cam Ward? No. He's got a lot of football under his belt. He looks like a very good player. I think he does have a fairly decent ceiling. I don't want to say he's going to be like the next generational, like, oh, he's a Tom Brady aspect, but I think he could be like a Matthew Stafford where he puts in the work and could be a Hall of Famer at the end of the day. Like, I don't want to say like obviously like championships and all that stuff because that is a team sport and everything like that. But I think he could have that sort of ceiling where it is like a Matthew Stafford-esque player where he's making these plays is very good. But again, it all comes down to the situation of just sort of the being on the same timeline with your head coach and quarterback. I think Chicago dealt with this a lot the past decade with them being in a different cycle. They'll fire their head coach, they'll bring a new one in, he'll keep the same quarterback for 2 years, and then he'll switch quarterbacks, and then immediately the coach will be fired. Now they're on that sort of same path, especially with Caleb Williams a little bit better now. So I think this is the sort of time where it's like they want to try to get immediately right back into the path because they don't want to deal with that sort of situation where they're like, oh, we'll sit with Will Levis for another year and just see what happens. No, you guys are the first overall pick. Get a quarterback. You guys don't know what the quarterbacks are going to look like next year. Let's just get the guy we know could have that ceiling and have a decent floor. I think he's not going to be like I don't think he's going to be like a Jamarcus Russell. Obviously, like worst case scenario where he becomes the worst player. But I don't think he will have like that sort of very, very low floor. I think he will be a pretty talented player. I think the floor could be like a top 16 player in the NFL at any given day. I think ceiling maybe top 5. But I think he's going to be like in that sort of realm where it's like, okay, it's about how he develops at this point. And I think that's all about like, hey, that's what Tennessee needs to do. I'm still in the train that you guys should be drafting Abdul Carter. I think shoring up that defense is number one, but I understand why they would be going after the quarterback position because of how expensive it has gotten as well as of late.
And another thing too, good points there. I am still on the Abdul Carter train as well. Have been since day one. We talk about development. I'll end on this and we can go to the next topic. Do we trust the Titans to actually develop a quarterback? When was the last time they developed a quarterback into a solid winner? Marcus Mariota?
I feel like, though, especially with Callahan, because he came from Cincinnati, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he had a hand in developing Joe Burrow. Obviously, Joe Burrow was very, very good before he came in. But I think you do have to point to the fact that he does have that developmental trait in him. So it's a little bit.
But again, though,
but yeah, Marcus Mariota.
Development wise, for me, if you are a developmental coach, if you are a coach known to be the quarterback whisperer, kind of like what Alex was talking about, what happened with Will Levis? He regressed in your system. Compared to a guy that got fired the year before, that was a defensive-minded coach. There wasn't even a quarterback's coach. Wasn't even an offensive guy, but he performed better under a Mike Vrabel than he did in year 2 under Brian Callahan. That's the thing for me, is that, like, yes, we were sold that bill of goods as well. Coming into the season, Brian Callahan is a quarterback whisperer. He's had experience with Matt Stafford, with Peyton Manning, with Joe Burrow. He knows how to develop quarterbacks. For the most part, the quarterbacks he's worked with in the past are quarterbacks that were already good. Besides Joe Burrow. That's the only case study we have for Brian Callahan to say, okay, well, look at that. Joe Burrow actually turned into something. But in LSU, his last year at LSU, he was a national champion. I mean, he was the quarterback of probably the greatest college football team to ever be put together. One of.
You're gonna put a lot of ruffle feathers with that.
Well, it's not. I'm not saying it. I'm saying that's the general consensus after that year was saying he was one of the. That was one of the best teams ever put together in college football. One of.
Before NIL.
Before NIL, yeah. Go Tigers. But I don't know. To me, we'll see how development works. If I were a coach and I felt as though I came in with a moniker of quarterback whisperer, quarterback guru, whatever, what have you, come in, first year with the quarterback, I don't succeed. I don't reach the level I want to reach. I would want to work on myself and with that specific quarterback to get to that point where I can showcase what I can do. Not just say, I give up. I give up. This isn't the guy. 2 plays last year, gentlemen. 2 plays that put the nail in the coffin for Will Levis's career in Tennessee. Week 1 and week 2. That's it. That's what everyone talks about. So, I don't know. I guess they just want to sell that. Too. They want to sell that to say, look, Will Levis isn't the guy. Look at those 2 bad plays from last year, guys. Oh, so bad. So bad. Let's look back at those plays every single week. And then when he has a 4-week stretch of being one of the best quarterbacks in the league, mind you, like with completion percentage and passing yards, things of that nature. But then after that injury of his and against Jacksonville, then they're like, oh, well, he's shit again. Let's throw him out. He's so bad. I don't know.
And my thing with this draft too, right? When you look at Callahan and the experience that he has with these quarterbacks, look who he's worked with, right? Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford, Peyton Manning, right? What are like all these quarterbacks he's worked with through the years kind of have in common? For me, it's like they're guys that are not afraid to sit in the pocket. They are guys that is their go-to. Their
What does
go-to
Cam
is
Ward
not
do?
to run the ball. Cam Ward does not sit in the pocket. He's a playmaker. He's a scrambler. He moves around. What does Shedeur Sanders do? He sits in the pocket and he takes the hit. He got hit so many times last year, and every single play, he got back up, did the next play. Like, man, it's just, I don't know. It just it doesn't feel right. It just in my gut, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good.
Also too, you look at Will Levis. Will Levis got sacked 41 times last year. So he did a pretty good job of staying in the pocket, throwing from the pocket. But again, he's a shit quarterback. If I'm taking over the mindset of everyone else, he's a shit quarterback. So that's the reason why we're getting rid of him and putting in Cam Ward instead. So we'll see how that goes. Excuse me. Still trying to get over this head cold
And in a
crap.
year when there's and this was like the year to go sign a veteran quarterback. There's so many options, either between trading or signing as free agents. There are so many options, and we're like, no, we're gonna develop our own guy.
Even Aaron Rodgers is still available.
And we could have waited a year. We could have waited 2 years. There are so many better quarterbacks than the people coming out this year. And I would still put Shedeur up. I genuinely love Shedeur Sanders enough that I would put him up there with a lot of the guys in the drafts that are coming up. But again, like I've been fed so much stuff from the Titans organization at this point about Cam Ward that it causes me to actually not trust him.
Yeah.
Even more than I already didn't.
Yep.
So it's rough. It's rough.
Will Shedeur Sanders get picked in the top 10?
No.
Yeah.
He will slide.
I think he's going to slide out of the top 4. He's not sliding out of the top 10. Someone will trade up to get him.
I think he slides. I think he slides all the way down to number 21.
2.
You think he's going to the Steelers?
To the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Brother, what are we talking about?
I mean, honestly, I don't know. I think he does slide. I think he does go. I mean, you look at who else is all here. The Giants are really like the only team that needs a quarterback that like it physically needs one.
The Saints.
I don't think they're gonna draft one. Saints, dude, I think they'll get an offensive lineman. I think they need an offensive lineman. I don't think they're gonna draft one first.
I know that the Raiders just got Geno Smith, but look at that deal. That's a 2-year deal. You know what that really is? That's really a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that. Here's the thing, though. I don't think Pete Carroll wants to be a part of a rebuilding team. I think he wants to try to win now.
You don't have to.
That's why I think they're gonna get.
That's why I have Geno Smith. That's why I have Geno Smith. He's a bridge quarterback. He could be. You think he's the franchise quarterback there?
No, I think they're gonna wait for next year. That's what I think. I think they're gonna wait for next year. They're gonna get Genty at number 6, and they're just gonna go for it and just go ahead. Even though they really shouldn't, I think they should get defensive line, but I think they're gonna get Genty at 6. And then just sort of go ahead. I think the Jets will get tight end. Panthers will get offensive or wide receiver.
Wasn't your boy over there in Vegas?
Vegas, what?
No, Josh Jacobs. I'm sorry. Josh Jacobs. Where'd he go?
Yeah, he's in Green Bay right now.
Oh, okay. He went from the Raiders to Green Bay.
He went from Raiders to he went to Raiders to
That's
here.
what I was
so
thinking.
Right now the running back room is terrible. It's I'm pulling it up right now because I kept hearing about it. It is Raheem Mostert and Zamir White. That's their running back room right now. And Sincere McCormick. They're getting Ashton Genty. I'm sorry. Like I want them to get Ashton Genty.
Man, it's just such a deep running back
draft
that like Like, it's such a deep running back draft. You could wait till round 6 and get a stud.
Here's the thing, though. I think this
You
is
can get one of those Ohio State boys, Howard and not Howard. You can get one of those two guys from Ohio State. You can get the kid from Arizona. You can get Cam Scatterbo.
Scatterbo's going to be like a
Scatterbo.
5th, 4th round pick.
Yeah,
This
but
is-
that's what I'm
this is-
saying.
This is
Like,
not me
in
saying
Tennessee,
this.
Dillon Sampson.
I think so. This is what I think. I think Ashton Genty is going to be top 10 no matter what. I think he's going to go 10 to
agree.
latest. And then the Amarian Hampton from North Carolina, I think he's going to be another 1st round pick. I think there could be at max 3 running backs taken in the 1st round. But this isn't me saying. This is a place on Twitter called NFL Notifications. I don't know who this guy is, but I saw it today. Ashton Genty, ceiling, Walter Payton, floor, LaDainian Tomlinson. I truthfully believe, because he plays like a Marshawn Lynch mixed with LaDainian Tomlinson, not Geno Smith, Pete Carroll will draft him and play him like a Marshawn Lynch, give him 300 carries this year, and just work him. And I think that will be the best bet for him. That's what I think. But again, I don't think there's going to be another quarterback. I think there will be quarterbacks taken. I think it could be some trades up, but I don't think, again, going back to sort of the beginning portion of this topic, I don't think Shador will be drafted in the top 10.
Interesting.
I think there's too many.
It happens.
There's too many question marks. I think it could happen. Could it happen? Yes, but I could see him getting taken in like the teens if the Steelers want to trade up, and then that's about it.
We'll see how it goes. I think Shador will get taken in the top 10. I think there'll be 2 quarterbacks. If there's this much hype on Cam Ward being considered a generational talent and all this stuff now, people coming out of the woodwork over the past few months saying that this guy is going to be incredible, even though they were very, very quiet about Cam Ward during the season last year. Didn't really talk much about him being this number 1 overall prospect, but he turned into one. Seems like overnight he turned into one.
Did he play in his bowl game?
Half
For
a game.
Quarter.
Half a game. And then at halftime, he said, I've hit my personal accolade. I've hit my personal record here at Miami. Peace. Fitz said, I caught a lot of heat for my Titans take on TikTok. I mean, you'll catch heat from Titans fans on pretty much anything. I'm now rooting for him not to go to Tennessee. Again,
How'd you feel about that Twitch stream? How'd you feel about that, Dillon?
oh no, it wasn't Twitch. It was YouTube. He was on YouTube.
How do you feel about his Fortnite stream?
He was trying to sell himself. He was trying to sell himself as the number 1 overall draft pick. A lot of people came out saying that, oh, well, he's saying this because he's definitely going to Tennessee. That's the reason why he's saying this. No. It's similar to what our boy, Abdul Carter from Penn State, was doing on Twitter. He does it all the time. Something will happen. He'll say, oh, look at me. I'm the number 1 overall draft pick. I'm draftable at number 1 overall. I'm the best. He's the best. He's trying to sell to whatever fan base is there at number 1. He was trying to sell himself to Tennessee. That's exactly what Cam Ward's doing. He's trying to sell himself, saying that, oh, Tyjae Spears and
Tony Pollard
are the best two of the best running backs in the league. Calvin
Put
Ridley
Treylon
is number
Burks at
1.
the top
Treylon
4.
Burks is number 4 wide receiver in the league.
Like, dude,
Brian Callahan's his favorite coach in the league. You're selling yourself to be number 1.
I get it.
You're selling yourself to be
get
number
it.
1.
Yeah, it's like, man,
Trying
I
to
get
seal
it.
the deal.
I get what you're doing. We all see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not kidding anybody.
No.
Like, and I appreciate the sentiment. But you know what I'd also love to hear? His actual opinions on those things. So I know what kind of guy he is. I want to know, does this guy really know ball? Because he did at least say Justin Jefferson was the best wide receiver in the league.
Yep.
But you think Calvin Ridley is better than AJ Brown? You think Calvin Ridley is better than Jamar Chase? You think Treylon Burks is a top 4 wide receiver? I've taken shits that might be better wide receivers than him.
Yeah. Kern said, no way you rank those guys the way he did if you're not going there. He was selling himself to be number 1 overall. If it was the Browns, he'd be saying how Deshaun Watson is still a generational quarterback. He would still be saying that who are the wide receivers there in Cleveland? I don't even freaking know at this point.
I have no idea.
No
Well,
idea.
it was David Njoku.
Elijah Wilson.
He would say David Njoku is number 1 tight end in the league. Like that's what he would be saying if he had this Fortnite stream. Cleveland was number 1 overall. You saw also whenever he was talking about the best coaches in the league, he said Brian Callahan, he said Kevin Stefanski, he said Brian Daboll. He went down the draft order. The top 5 teams. He went down the draft order and said those were the best coaches in the league. I don't know. He was trying to sell himself as number 1 overall, which, you know what? At this point, you're just shooting your shot at this point. Does he probably know that he's going to Tennessee? Yeah, probably. I'm sure the Titans have probably talked to him about how you're going to be here and where you're going to live and what you're going to eat when you're here, whatever, blah, blah, whatever. But yeah, so there's that. Speaking of quarterbacks, another quarterback note here. Jaxson Dart was on the list to be at the draft a week ago. Now, today, his name is no longer on that list of attendees that will be present at the NFL draft in Green Bay. So
Smart.
That kind of tells you where Jaxson Dart thinks he's going to go, and it's probably not going to be in the first round.
Probably not in the second round either.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
There's only like 17 people going, right? There's only like 17 people that are listed as attending the draft.
This was more than last year though, because last year they had 13 or 14. So
yeah, which is it's very odd to me. I think that before COVID, there really weren't that many players who didn't go, who were invited. Pretty much everybody went who was invited, especially in the first round. But now it just seems like it's few and far between when players do go. Shador not being there, kind of interesting. But at the same time,
Shador's not going?
No.
Oh, because it was going to be Cam Ward, Jaxson Dart, and then Jalen Milroe were going to be the 3 quarterbacks that will be going. And now it's just Cam Ward and Milroe. So
interesting. But Shador did have his jersey retired, so I mean he earned that.
Travis Hunter.
Yippee!
He earned that. Travis Hunter earned it. Travis Hunter earned it.
No, he didn't.
I mean,
don't fool yourself.
One of the first.
You're in college for 2 years.
They played at Colorado for 2 years. Most
people play for their teams for 2, like actually on the field playing. Most of them play for 2 years and they retire people's jerseys.
There's still multiple people in Colorado that have won a national championship that don't have their number retired. Like, look, go down the list. There's multiple people who should have their numbers retired. The quarterback in the 90s.
So you're telling me, I just want to get this straight. Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders, they equally deserved to get their jerseys retired.
No. Neither one of them should have. That's what I'm saying. Is neither one of them should have gotten their jerseys retired. I could see maybe in like 5-10 years if Travis Hunter did it, but right now they barely made a bowl game. They went 3-8.
I'm sure they ended in the top 25.
What?
Did they not end in the top 25?
Colorado?
I don't think so. Didn't they end at if they did, they ended like the 20s. I don't think they even ended in the top 25.
They were like 20. I think they were like 24 or 25.
I think so.
I mean, they were in the top 25 towards the end of the season.
They were at 23. And they lost in the bowl game to number 17 BYU by 12 points. Like, still, in the Big Ten, I don't know.
Did Shador Sanders play his whole bowl game?
Sure did.
Interesting.
A little hard out.
Interesting.
Yeah, he also had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on almost 50% completion percentage.
Who knows? Cam Ward may have thrown 4 interceptions in the second half of his bowl game, but he didn't play it.
And his team lost.
His team got decimated in the second half.
One who played in their bowl game and did amazing?
Ashton Genty.
Ashton Genty, baby. Even though they lost. 30 carries for over 105 yards.
Jesus.
Yeah, he didn't break the record. He's
Speaking of
gonna be
Ashton
great.
Genty, got to talk about quotes here. So Will Howard, Ohio State quarterback, came out, I think it was like this week, and said, draft me or you'll regret it. Will Howard.
I'm on the Will Howard like fan bus. Like I am. I'm a Will Howard like fanboy. 'Cause at
Cam
the end of
Ward
the
or
day-
Will Howard?
What'd I just say?
No, I'm just saying Cam Ward
Oh,
or Will Howard.
of the two, I don't know which one won a national championship.
Which one didn't quit on his team?
Who's a winner? Who's a winner?
We're talking a
I'm
bunch
serious.
of shit about Cam Ward, but until he becomes a Titan, once he becomes a Titan, then I'm done shit talking. But
Dude, I won't
until
even
that
remember
moment,
this conversation
he quit
happening.
on his team halfway through.
Yeah.
Quit.
I'm just saying, Will Howard, like, I understand that he didn't get all of the hype and all this stuff, and I understand that he had all the weapons in the world. But, like, look at the weapons Jalen Hurts had. He won the Super Bowl. No one's sitting here questioning whether or not Jalen Hurts is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I mean, like, it's just I don't understand like why Will Howard is being looked at as like a 4th, 5th, 6th round pick. Like, I don't understand why he's a day 3 guy. If you look at the tape for this guy, and I understand his combine day was not great. I get it.
No, it was
Well,
It was not great.
and
But
he
you
had
know what
great
the
wide
combine
receivers
isn't?
too.
Yeah. Do you know what the combine isn't? The national championship. And who won that? Who led their team to that big fat W?
Can I have a comeback
What-
to this?
Sure.
Max Duggan.
Yeet.
You want to know where he plays now?
Nowhere.
Um,
St.
Practice
Louis
squad for the
Battlehawks.
Practice squad for the
oh,
Chargers.
Battlehawks.
St. Louis Battlehawks, former Heisman runner-up and 2022 national championship runner-up. Now
Yeah,
plays for
runner-up.
the UFL Battlehawks.
Runner up. Did he win?
Runner up. Did he win? I feel like I'm
Now
on
that's
delay.
that's talking about being demolished. That game was a
was
shellacking.
ugly.
A shellacking.
I don't even see how you possibly just compared these two.
No. But Will Howard said that.
Like,
And then we had a quote from Ashton Genty within the past few weeks saying, quote, I've taken the long way. I'm done with the long way. If you pick me, it's simple. I'm coming to your franchise to do what Saquon and the Eagles just did. I'm coming to win big soon. It's tackle football. You know what I'm saying? I draft the guy they can't tackle. Thank you for your time. That was a post on
You wanna-
social media.
do you want to know
It
where I
wasn't just
think
a
he's
post on
going?
social media. It was a post to the. It was a post on the Players Tribune
Yes.
to the GMs, which
You know where I think he's going?
Where?
I think he's going to the Patriots.
fuck no.
I
Sorry,
think I think he is. Because you know who's the coach there?
Mike Vrabel.
Big Mike Vrabel, baby.
And he
Big
loves
Mike Vrabel,
riding
baby.
a running back.
Woo, he loved.
He's
having
jumping
James
on
Harrison.
Ashton Genty's back himself and riding him into the end zone. Big
It's
Mike,
a-
baby.
Oh yeah, I do not be surprised. Do not, and if they trade out to the Eagles, get ready for them to trade right back up for him.
He did say they have multiple options at number 4.
yeah, Will Campbell, and Will Campbell.
I don't know.
I think they're getting offensive line. I don't know.
Buddy, do you know who's the buck stops with in New England? You know who the head coach, GM, and all around badass dude is up there? That's Big Mike Vrabel.
Mike
He's
Vrabel.
gonna have a vape. He's gonna have a vape in the right side, a cigarette in the left side. He's gonna have chew here, Zins here, and he's gonna be like, "Everson Genty, you ready to come here?"
Yep.
He's not even able to talk,
Yep.
but he's gonna know because he's gonna be watching the TV. He's like, Looks like I'm a Patriot.
Or do you see the Eagles trading up to number 4 and giving Mike Vrabel A.J. Brown back?
I think that's more possible than them
Could you imagine?
taking
That'd be
Ashton
crazy.
Genty.
That would be crazy.
I think that's more possible than them taking.
That's what I'm
Ashton
saying. But
Genty.
then I could see
Has Mike Vrabel
back.
picked up the phone since the Eagles announced or there's been discussions about A.J. Brown being on the trade block? Do you think Mike Vrabel's picked up the phone to call the Eagles already?
100%.
I don't think he's called. I think they might have called him. But it all depends on in the drafts, because I know like the big thing with that is if Abdul Carter goes to 4, which if that happens, then I think that could happen. But I mean, I don't know. I think that's more.
If you're in the chat still, who would you rather have, A.J. Brown or Ashton Genty?
AJ Brown, Ashton Genty, or Will Campbell.
Or
Those are
Will
your three
Campbell.
options.
Yeah, let's throw Will Campbell in there too.
I'll take AJ Brown.
He's a
I
pretty
know
what
what
commodity.
I'd take, but
I'd take AJ Brown. I've seen it's undeniable what that kid's done in his career. That guy, man, he's a grown man.
Yeah, he's a grown man. He's a grown
Yeah,
man. He
like-
has a beard.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
mean,
from?
it's
Tyler?
I don't know.
oh, hold on.
Alex, you don't know either?
I can't.
Talladega Nights.
I've seen Talladega Nights like one time.
He's a grown man. He had a beard.
But yeah,
You
I
like
mean,
Baby
just
Jesus?
like AJ Brown, like when he was with the Titans, like we went to the AFC Championship game. We
We were 1 seed.
we were the 1 seed. Oh man, I miss those days.
Could you
We had a good
imagine
coach.
the connection up there in New England with his quarterback
dude,
throwing to
It
A.J.
looks like
Brown?
I'm saying it looks like Drake May is going to be a stud too. They got to get him somebody.
If
They
A.J.
gotta
Brown
get
could do that with Ryan Tannehill, he'd be doing that with Drake May.
He's been doing it with Jalen Hurts. In a run-heavy offense.
Hasn't been happy about it. Been reading his Zen books on the sideline. Which quarterback or which player here, Will Howard or Ashton Genty, do you think will look back at this quote and say, you know what? That was a mistake.
Will Howard.
Yeah.
You know what it feels like? It feels like the Josh Rosen quote on draft night. There were eight choices ahead of me, and they all got them wrong or something like that, whatever his quote was, and now he's
Where is he at
bounced
now?
on the I don't know. I think he's selling real estate. Like, I think he actually is genuinely selling real estate.
He's not in the
But
league.
like, no, I honestly think like taking like the jokes out of it. I think Genty's quote is like just true. I think if you watch him play, like it's insane. Like
Yeah.
he is like, I think the dude that I was talking about before, like throwing his floor at LaDainian Tomlinson, he looks like a modern day LaDainian Tomlinson. He knows how to catch out of the backfield. He can pass protect. He can run. He basically, his entire college career this last year was basically facing an 8-man box. And he still put up the numbers he did. Like, imagine that in an NFL offense with like actual blockers that can actually, like, you know, that they actually have the chance to, like, you know, they can throw, and Mad Max isn't throwing 3 interceptions in a bowl game. Like, it's going to be electric.
Yeah. It'll be fascinating. I think Ashton Genty will be a great running back. Will Howard, however, I don't know how well he would do in the NFL
I mean,
system.
I think he's a pretty similar. I think he's just one of those situations where, you know, you get him late, and if you find yourself in a situation where you need him, he'll have his chance to shine. And depending on what the situation is around him and what happens, you know, he could be one of these guys that comes off the bench and proves that he's a winner. And because I think he is. He's
Do you
a
see
winner.
him being more of a Kirk Cousins or more of a Drew Lock?
I think if we're really going to look at a comparison here, I mean, I think he could be as low as a Drew Lock, and I think he could be as high as like a Tom Brady situation. Like I really do think he's just accurate, man. If you look at him, he's an accurate passer. He's got the deep ball. Like I'm not saying he's Tom Brady, obviously, but what if Drew Bledsoe never got hurt? We would have never have seen Tom Brady. We would not be talking about who Tom Brady is right now. It's all about what you do with your opportunity, and
He might not have had 7 rings. I still think he would have been good. He just wouldn't have had seven rings like he has. But interesting. Update on Aaron Rodgers? No update. Actually, there is an update. Aaron Rodgers did go on the Pat McAfee show this past week and say that with the Jets, they flew him in to talk about his future.
He flew in on his own.
Well, he flew on his own. But he came in. They asked him to come in. He flew in. During the conversation, Aaron Glenn said, "We're going in a different direction." The conversation was expected to be at least an hour. It turned into about 15-minute conversation with him and the GM and Aaron Glenn. And Aaron Rodgers was cut from the team pretty shortly after that. So now Aaron Rodgers is just kind of up in the air, not really giving an answer to the Steelers yet. That's been the team that he's been linked with all off season. I'm sure going into the draft night, you might have. Will we see clarity with the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers before Thursday?
No. I still think he's waiting.
If we don't, do you think it is a bad situation for Aaron Rodgers? Do you think he still winds up there in Pittsburgh if he goes past draft night not being picked up?
I think if he plays this year, he's playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he more or less said that in that interview. Right. I think it's one of those situations where he's dealing with things in his personal life, which is what he said, which, kind of take that for what it is. But then to be fair, Pat kind of came back on the back end and kind of made people kind of like reiterated, hey, like I do know what's going on. And I'm telling you, it's a lot more serious than you think it is, what he's dealing with. And AJ Hawk reiterated the same thing. And AJ Hawk's usually the one who's like, I'm not telling you anything about Aaron. But they both were like, hey, we do know what's going on. It's not our business to tell you, but we can tell you it is serious. I think if he plays, he's going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think he is going to play. I think he's just got to deal with what he's dealing with before he can start committing himself to football again. But I don't think that changes what the Steelers should do in the draft. I think the Steelers still need to look at their quarterback of the future type of situation. Aaron Rodgers you should be moving forward with the thought process that Aaron Rodgers is your starter and drafting somebody in the first round that will be his replacement. And I think for them, I think it either means trading up to get Shador or hoping that Jaxson Dart's sitting there at 21.
Yeah, like I said for myself, I think they're going to get Shador. I don't think there's a way they don't get Shador. I think that's going to be the best bet. I think Jaxson Dart I think he's a good day 2 pick, but he's just so inconsistent, especially with the Lane Kiffin offense where he's reading 2 players and that's it. It's either hit the deep ball, hit the short intermediate stuff, or run. And I don't think that's what Mike Tomlin wants. I think they're going to try to get Shador. I think that's going to be the best bet for him. But I think it's just about when will Rodgers actually sign. Hopefully it's not too long from now, but it's still like, okay, we're waiting for you. How long are we going to wait sort of aspect? Yeah. And it's like, obviously obviously I didn't watch the whole thing. I just saw clips of it. So it's like, if he is struggling with stuff in his personal life, obviously deal with that first. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, okay, if we could get your confirmation, and it's like, even now, it's like, even the Steelers, I feel like a lot of times don't know if they're actually going to be signing him. So it's like, if it's like, hey, it's something in my personal life that I got to work out. Okay, cool. Sign this contract. We'll leave you alone with it and have you work on it yourself. But we need confirmation saying, yes, I will be signing here. Right now, it still seems like I'm up in the air, sign me to whatever team you want sort of situation. So it's like, I don't know if it's just bad messaging in some aspects, but it's like, it feels like it needs to be like, okay, let's set in stone that you're actually going to be coming here this year. If you have personal stuff that you got to work on, work it out. But we needed in writing that you're going to be coming here this year.
Yeah. I mean, I think he'll end up with the Steelers. I just think that going into draft night, if you don't have clarification on Aaron Rodgers, on his situation and if he's going to play or not, then I think they're more prone to sign a quarterback earlier than if they did get Aaron Rodgers in the building beforehand and still get a quarterback of the future in a later round of the draft. So that's just my thinking for this season, because they're going to want to try to maximize the time they have with Aaron Rodgers if he is the quarterback for the Steelers in 2025, which it looks like that's the case. So you have to have weapons around him. You have to have some offensive line help, what have you. But I think their draft needs will change slightly if they don't get Aaron Rodgers committed by Thursday night. That's just my thinking on it. Two contracts I want to talk about. One, Eagles center Cam Jurgens signed a 4-year, $68 million extension today. So congratulations to him. Also, I don't know if you heard this, Alex. Christian Fulton signed a 2-year, $20 million extension with the Chargers.
Good for him.
So there you go, Christian. Last but not least, I want to talk about new rules real quick. I just want to hit on these. I'm not going to actually hit on them. I want to know what your favorite rule is that's come out for the 2025 season. Of the 4 that are listed here, one talking about kickoffs, one about OT, one about replay assist. 5. Legal tampering period, or the first down rulings. Which rule do you like the most of these 5? I'll go with Tyler first. I'll go with Alex first. Tyler's sneezing.
I like the legal tampering period. I think there's so much of these tampering periods where it's just like they're doing it. Like we know, like they're allowed to do it. But it's all just agent talk. It's not, they're not talking to the players. And that's fine. Like that happens. It works. It's good. It's okay. It's fine. But I like the idea of them being able to do a little bit more of their word of the night for me, apparently, due diligence, and actually talk to these guys. And make sure that they are getting someone and see what their attitude is towards coming to your place, not just letting their agent be like, hey buddy, you're going to this team. Like they're the ones that gave you the most money. Like, I think realistically, there are people that would take less money if they vibed with the right person versus like, no, like if you're going to take me, it's going to cost you this much. So yeah, and I like that it's not too much. Hey, do your due diligence on your top 5.
Yep.
Do your due diligence on your top 5 people that you would potentially want to bring in, and then from there, then you can move forward with that from there. Yeah, like it's good. I like that. What I don't like is Sony's Hawkeye technology. They use that thing in the pregame or preseason. Y'all remember how long it took to get one first down measured?
I'm sure it's probably more advanced now. If they're adopting it, it's probably more advanced than it was in the in preseason.
We'll see. I hope so.
You would think so.
The technology is amazing in tennis.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys have watched a tennis.
It's
match
pretty
lately.
instant too.
It's instantaneous, and it's so dang accurate in the way that they visualize. I hope that CBS, Fox, Amazon, Netflix, I hope all of them have fantastic ways of presenting the information given to them by that technology.
Yeah.
Because I think you could do some really, really creative stuff that would really bring a lot to the viewing experience with those close calls.
Yep. Tyler?
Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's sort of a part of the UFL too, that they're sort of pushing the NFL to be more tech savvy, which I think is a good idea, instead of having just people rely on note cards and a chain that can be moved at certain times. I think that's sort of old school. I'm sort of glad they're doing this. Hopefully it is better. I think my biggest thing though is definitely just the overtime, just guaranteeing that both teams will get it in the regular season instead of just having it be in the playoffs. I think it just makes more sense to do it that way. Kickoffs, I think, is going to be interesting as well. But I think the biggest thing is just overtime rules. I think it provides more football and also allows people to actually like get ready for playoff football, where it's not, you're not getting ready for two different rules. You're actually playing like another quarter of a game instead of just, oh, first person who gets it wins sometimes and then a bunch of craziness.
Yeah. This is funny because the last one that you guys gave me is the one I wanted to go with. Replay assist. On-site replay official will now be permitted to reverse flags that are thrown for hits to defenseless players, along with fouls for face masks, horse collars, tripping, and running into / roughing the kicker. So I love the fact that we're using technology to fix a mistake in real time without having to worry about a coach's challenge. If there are blatant mistakes out there, which we've seen over the past few years, that there's a few plays in the year that we say, that really wasn't right, and it alters the game outcome, and it alters playoff seeding and things of that nature. That's going to be interesting to see the replay assist kind of come in and assist on those kind of plays to where it just makes it more even. The game gets called better. And also, we saw some referees this season get fired for some of their calls. So I think it's just giving more accountability to the officiating, which I think that's something that needs to be looked at even further. So I'm glad that there's been some action that's happened this offseason to where it kind of curbs that, hopefully, moving into the future, and we don't have to worry about replay assist too often. But having the option for replay assist, I think, will be beneficial moving forward. Having the on-site replay official kind of take matters into their own hands if something egregious happens in a football game, which I think it'll be really, really interesting. So that's all we have tonight for the show. This was a special edition of Out of Bounds, the draft special, talking about the draft coming up on Thursday. But we will not be live streaming on Thursday. JDF Sports will be, however. And we have a live show with Fitz, Fonz, Kearns, and all the boys. I might pop in with a live segment from Nissan Stadium. Tyler might pop in as well from Green Bay, depending on what his situation looks like in Green Bay. It might be a little crazy for him, so we'll see how that goes.
I'm hoping it's not a complete cluster, but I know it's going to be.
Yeah.
I know personally I'll be there all 3 days, so I'm hoping that it's just not bad. I know parking is already going to be crazy enough. Because like we're trying to find it, and like so where we're staying at, they have a shuttle that's runs 2 times. Do you want to know how much it costs to shuttle from where we're going to be staying to the draft?
30. That was
80.
low.
Way higher. $110 per person
How big is the shuttle?
each day. Each day, by the way.
How big is the shuttle?
How
It's a
far
bus.
away?
It's about like 30, 45 minutes.
Man, I
that
really
gets you
don't
to and
understand
back.
why they're doing that in Green Bay, the draft in Green Bay.
No,
I get the history, but man, it just doesn't make sense.
The logistics are going to be
It's
terrible.
going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. But no, and like I remember when I went to a Packer game like a few years ago, we took a bus from Milwaukee to Green Bay. Drinks were all paid for, food was all paid for to tailgating, and we got a bus ride back to there and back. $90 per person. That's with drinks and food before the game, so you're able to like unlimited food and limited drinks basically in that. This is just $110 to get to the stadium for the draft. So we're parking in downtown and taking a bus to Green Bay, and apparently it's supposed to be like $1 an hour that we're taking. So like hopefully that works, and hopefully it's not just first come first serve, and
That'll be
it's
nice.
like a tiny parking lot. So
That'll be nice.
Even if you stayed in that spot for 3 days, that's $72. That's better than what you were doing with that $110 shuttle.
yep, exactly.
That's crazy. Well, enjoy your time at the draft. Alex and I will be cheering on the Titans as we pick Cam Ward #1 overall. So
Yeah, I'll have to see your reaction when that happens.
yeah, for sure. Once again, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, subscribe to us or follow us on Facebook. Watch us on Twitch as well. We're out there too. And subscribe to all of our podcasting platforms, Out of Bounds, Dillon James, everywhere you find your podcast. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you very, very soon right here on JDF Sports.